don't know if I can replicate that.
Wake up! That guy needs to free Nigerian parents.
Honestly.
Like, so one of my OGs doesn't like Kizz Daniel's music, and he says the music is somehow. Like, I didn't get it till now, till Buga. Like, when I listen to Buga, I'm not exactly the biggest fan of the record, but I understand why it's working. It sounds like the average thing that a Nigerian would like. Like, something that it is made for Nigerians. Kizz Daniel knows how to make those records. Everybody knows it, like something that will just stick in your brain and will just keep working, right? And it also feels like Kizz Daniel, his records, I've learned to understand that I don't make opinions about Kizz Daniel's music when it comes out, even if I don't like it, because it just goes down and comes back up. It is wild. There's nobody like this guy in this industry in terms of how his music is able to make his music. He has a style to. He has a formula. He has a formula to those records, because only Kizz Daniel sounds like Kizz Daniel. Davido sometimes sounds like that. Mayor sometimes can emulate that, but even Mayor is very sui generis. Kizz Daniel is never going to make a record like Gang. Possibly never, right? But do you know any other person that's going to make a record like Buga? Who? Mention the person. Mention one person. Or that's going to make a record. Put them for breast and sweat. It's records that women in the trenches will be singing for like 3 years. Nothing like, I've never seen anything like it before. You see what happened at the PDP convention when Buga came on? Nigerian parents were ecstatic. Man, it's good to see him back after a period of struggle. It's really good. It's a good story.
Yeah, I
mean, in an industry where we feel like when you're done, you're done.
Yeah.
You are never done these days. Yeah. That's what it means.
I mean, it seems like he has come a long way.
Yeah, he has.
Who was Kizz Daniel in 2019?
The person behind me is a huge Kizz Daniel stan. I'm sure he must be happy that I'm talking about Kizz Daniel. So he came at a time when we had established we had not established it, but we had sort of earmarked some people who are going to be here for a while. So that was Wiz, Olamide, Savage, Davido. Like, they were making the run and they were establishing themselves. Like, the old guard was sort of, they were still the old guard, the band was still the band. Some of these guys were still themselves. But they were sort of fading out in a way, or we knew that they were going to hand over very soon. And we had earmarked some people that were going to be here. Yemi Alade included as well. But then after them, we sort of had another set of, like, maybe Pat Rankin and Shantizo. Shantizo was kind of their set, but let's put them slightly behind. So Shantizo, Burna Boy, Yemi Alade, some of those other guys, right? So the thing about them is, all of a sudden we just had Techno, Kizz Daniel, Runtown. They just exploded almost at the same time, 2014 to 2016. They had this wild, ridiculous run. All of a sudden everybody was thinking, okay, maybe them Wizkid and Davido and Tiwa Savage and Olamide might actually have competition here, because it felt like, man, these guys are going to be here, because look at, all of them had ridiculous runs. Kizz Daniel had like just 3 strong runs. Like, how can you start your career with Woju? What's the other one? Woju, the one that sounds like Woju, and then Rabba, like back to back to open the floor, literally. And then Techno had that ridiculous year in 2016. Runtown also had, make no mistake, Runtown had no. So there was a day that Runtown, to digress a bit, that MTV Base was playing Runtown's, they were doing Runtown Focus. Bro, like 20 records, back to back to back. That's crazy. Anyway, back to Kizz Daniel. So then one album of the year at the 2016 Headies, I believe, if I'm not wrong. I'm not sure about that, but 2016, one album of the year. And bro, this guy just exploded. He grew a life of his own. Like, even if certain people were signing to foreign record deals, we're getting #1 singles, we're touring outside Nigeria, we're doing this, we're doing that. He just crafted a niche for himself. Like, he was a star in his own right, and he was just blossoming, right before everybody's eyes. And one thing I've also noticed about him is when you listen to a Kizz Daniel song or an album, you might not like it initially, but come back some months later. Yeah, that's usually how it is. So that's why, like I said, I try not to judge his music. And then No Bad Songs dropped. People said, oh, why is he naming an album No Bad Songs? I go and play No Bad Songs. When you have time, play No Bad Songs now. You will see what I'm talking about. So and then I remember in 2019, he toured outside Nigeria. He went on a North American tour. That was when people said, oh wow, he can perform as well. Like, good look. Yeah, he's very handsome. He's tall, he's lanky, women love him, he has a great voice, right? So everything aligns. And now, everyone sort of realized that, wow, he can perform as well. I remember there was a specific performance where it was performing Poco in Canada. You know that dance? Oh my God. Girls were going mad in Canada, right? And the show was packed. 2019 in December, his show clashed with Wizkid's show on the same day. On the same day. Even though Wiz sold out Eco Atlantic, Kizz had a decent outing at a hotel. Like, anybody that was there would tell you, he had like, for people to say, okay, we're not going to Wiz. I was at Kizz Daniel's show because the Wiz show was going to be packed, so I didn't want to go. Bro, it was loaded. And thank God for the alcohol that day as well. Anyway, the point is, he was incredible. His journey till 2019 was ridiculous. Had hits with Mayo and David that year as well, which is wild.
What do you think changed for Kizz Daniel between 2019 and 2020?
So 2019 was possibly his best year yet. Possibly. Competes in 2016-ish or 2015. But 2019 was very peculiar for him. So he was coming into the next year with like energy of, he was getting close to maybe A- list, right? And then started doing some features. He went on some sort of feature run in 2020 Q1. Did a record with Adekunle Gold, did a record with Skibby, did some other records. Some of those collaborations didn't work, right? But what really changed was Reputation started seeping out. People were talking about how he was aloof, doesn't relate to a lot of people, that he's rude, he's cocky, personality issues. People that work with him didn't have a lot of things, had bad things to say about him. They had good things to say, but they also had bad things to say about him, right? And the opinions were not that great in terms of like from those people. He also started having problems with Nigerian media, people in the media, right? So some people that rarely say bad things about people in the media, like you never hear them say any bad thing about an artist in public. They will say something bad about him. So the Reputation sort of grew and grew and grew from there. And then he wasn't just doing it to his fellow artists or people on his team. The behavior was also showing to certain people, maybe some major people in Nigeria that I can't mention. Some wild things happened with them as well, right? So he had a reputational damage, quote and unquote, of some sort. Like everybody wanted a piece of him to tell him something. And then he felt like he was blind to it all and he didn't care. Living by his own rules still. And then he dropped King of Love. And it was radio silence from the industry. That was when we did. So when people started talking about King of Love, we did a facts only episode about Kizz Daniel, 2 facts only episodes in 2021. The first one was about, bro, King of Love is actually a really good album. I think people should play that album. I said it on that episode, and I'll say the first Kizz Daniel episode. Bro, King of Love is a really good album. The only reason he didn't make a year-end list was when we were debating it, the impact in terms of like what you expect from a Kizz Daniel album. He was competing with some of his numbers on YouTube alone. Were competing with like people like Brian and Chike at the time. So people were like, okay, if you're competing with them, why? Even though some of those albums were released before his, you're like, okay, maybe we can't put it there. But in terms of quality, I gave it an 8.0 in my review. It was such a good album. Back to back, bro. All the way down, bangers everywhere. But people didn't care. Radio silence. Do you know how wild that shit is? Kizz Daniel. Then people started asking questions. Then a lot of people started on social media, here and there. Key media people, key personalities, right? Subs, and you know who they were talking to or talking about. So reputational damage was really what happened to me in 2020. It was very weird, but reputational damage.
All right. Why did these things change?
Why did these things, based on the things that I said, in terms of, number one, brand identity issues. Number two, personality issues. Number three, behavioral issues, right? How you relate to brand identity in terms of how people see you. Aloof, withdrawn, kind of elitist, personality, egotistical, right? All of those things, those are the issues that I highlighted in the past. Those are the problems that confronted in this person.
All right. How pivotal was 2021 for you?
I mean, you have to look at it this way. You know how Americans think about brand as a 360 thing? So, let me give you two examples. Foreign artists generally. You know how Adele lost weight and we're expecting the sound of her album to change? Or when Billie Eilish dropped the baggy outfits and dark colors for more beautiful Marilyn Monroe style beauty, you know that there's something to come, right? So you have to think about branding like that. It's a 360 approach. So what you see is what you get. And when something starts coming out, it kind of becomes the truth, right? Either that's who you are or not. It just sticks. So with Kizz Daniel, sadly, that was what really happened. So 2021, he dropped the record with LK Kudi, currently dropped, didn't really do a lot. Didn't do badly, but it wasn't on that level. Then he dropped like 2 more singles. Another single didn't really do well as well. And it featured another single, didn't really do well. Wasn't bad, make no mistake, but it didn't do well. Then Lie dropped. And when Lie dropped, it felt like a digital hit more than it was big. Like, Lie was good, but it still wasn't, Lie was big, but it still wasn't, put down for breast and swear, if I do you bad, or Buga, you can literally see, like, I keep saying something. The moment a hit is debatable, then maybe it's not a hit. Do you understand? Like, the moment you can say it's a hit, I can say it's not a hit, then it's not. Because right now, does anybody have to tell you that Buga is a hit? No. Does anybody have to tell you that Palazzo is a hit? No. Does anybody have to tell you Suma is a hit? No. Not on that level. It's kind of a digital hit. But it was still making inroads. Like, people were listening to it because it's also signed to a really good company that really understands marketing. That they are really hacking it. Empire is really hacking it. Like, it's real credit to them. Like, you can see 2 records, Gentility and Necessary by Kizz Daniel made a comeback. Do you remember that? That's marketing genius on steroids. I don't know how that happened, but it was ridiculous. The same company, right? Bringing records back randomly, and the records just blocked. So you have to look at it that way. So going back to Kizz Daniel, he then came on social media and said some cabal were behind it. Then we did another factory episode, if you remember that. He was talking some rubbish, obviously. Then a lot of people that don't really say anything about him said something about him, so you know that there's a problem. And that was when we started seeing certain switches in his attitude, in his outlook, and in his brand identity, personality issues, even his social media approach to things, right? A lot of people have credited that to, some people say it's because of his children, some people say it's because of the loss of his dad. I mean, those things can be very pivotal. Look at someone like Adriano, for example. Remember Adriano, the footballer? It was one of the hottest, possibly 2004. Adriano was ridiculous. People were saying he was going to be a Ballon d'Or winner, right? And I think he won a Confederations Cup in 2000. It was top scorer at Confederations Cup in 2005. Maybe it was Shukema or him. Whatever, it doesn't matter. The point is, they started losing form. People say attributed it to alcoholism. But alcoholism because he lost his father, he was pivotal in his life, and then his girlfriend left him. That was the argument at the time. I mean, people still make fun of him till now. That why would you? But people have different emotional thresholds. So maybe with Kizz Daniel, it activated a different emotional threshold in him. Things changed. First things first, we're seeing Kizz Daniel, the fine boy with the great voice, the hitmaker, right? We're now seeing Kizz Daniel, the father, who showed himself carrying babies on social media, showed his baby mama off on Mother's Day, bro, right? Like, different things. So it was 3 approaches that he appeared to take. It looks like, number one, he started listening to people other than himself. That's what it feels like, because the Kizz Daniel now, as much as he might not agree with this, but Kizz Daniel now is totally different from the Kizz Daniel of 2 years ago or 3 years ago. Totally different. It's not even about what we are seeing on social media. It's about the fact that what we see on social media. It's not about that fact that he's on social media. It's about what we are seeing on social media. It's like there's a more intentional, a more positive approach to social media. Either intentionally because he's a better person or he's a changed person, or someone is saying, oh, this is what we should do. Right? That's one. Number 2, bridges are being mended. So people that used to say bad things are not exactly really going hard at him anymore. It feels like some people are making amends, trying to have conversations, right? That's what it is. Like quality conversations with people. Okay, this is what it is. Give me a chance. Like that's very intentional, very key, because you need to have a relationship with the industry where you are. It's very important. Then number 2, identity is changing. Like I was saying the other time. And number 3 is brand is also changing, right? So right now it's expanding. And then also, aside from the fact that the father things, there seems to be a better relationship with the industry, even artists, right? So after I dropped Barnabas EP, which is quite good, right? It's not bad. December to January 2022, Kizz Daniel's story was like a diary session. Everybody went there. Davido. If you were not there, maybe you probably didn't matter. That's why you were not on Kizz Daniel's stories. And then it was showing excitement, more personality, more panache, right? More gusto. It was teasing music. It was interacting and showing excitement with someone like Buju, right? Things got totally different. He wasn't aloof anymore. I mean, it's still not Portable or maybe Zlatan, but you can see the difference in what he's doing. So 2 things matter in that situation. It was also good that he used social media incredibly to his advantage, and good music was also coming out as well. And the fact that he was signed to an incredible company that knew how to market those records. So Put Down for Breast and Swear became a social media trend, blew up, right? Necessary came back, had his run, right? And then started a fresh year. And then the numbers went to another level. Turntable Charts recently named him as the number 1 Nigerian artist of Q1 2022. And you can't really argue. But that's numbers, because Kizz Daniel is always Kizz Daniel. But another Empire artist, is in terms of eye test, who are going to compete against is between him and Ashake so far this year, right? It's been possibly Nigerian artist, hottest artist this year, but Ashake might have something to say about that. Look forward to the episode of Facts, we are going to do it at the end of the month, right? So it changed. And now you are seeing Kizz Daniel actually is now moving like a big brother as well. Like someone like Kizz Daniel, Zinolitsky released Loving You, went to Kizz Daniel, and Kizz Daniel put him on his IG stories. He had problems with G Worldwide, which was one of the problems he had back then. Actually, it was just not going away. Him and Emperor Jizzy were dancing on social media in April, I believe. I think April 16 or 13, I'm not sure. Right? So fences have been mended. That's another evidence that fences have been mended. It's different. It's totally different.
What has since changed for Kizz Daniel?
Hits, bro. Hits records. Love hit records. Maybe not a lot, but you get what I mean. Bugai alone is like 3 hit records. Bro, that song is cleaning out. Do you know the amount of money that boy is going to make on that record? Cool Kids might say, oh my God, I don't like it. You don't have to like it. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. I mean, me, I wasn't dancing with Gangnam Style, but do you know how much side made from cleaned out from Gangnam Style? I mean, bro, the guy is not really my cup of tea. This is my opinion on the fact-based show, but, bro, you can't deny the fact that it's a huge record. And I can't deny that he has his own qualities or quality. So it's what it is. Like hit records, bro. Hits.
Well, from your point of view, what led to this change?
What led to the change is some of the things that I said. Many bridges, change in brand identity, a lot of thoughts, good companies and good people behind him. Feels like he's listening at the center, good music and social media.
How have those things been happening?
Those things have just been happening in an intentional way. It feels like it's more intentional, and that's why we're having this conversation right now. Because, like I said at the start of this episode, people think when you're done, you're gone. But now we are seeing songs make a comeback, not even people right now. This is a comeback, either you want to argue it or not. This is a comeback. It's a comeback. And it's a good story, and I really hope that he has the momentum to carry it till the end of the year, because it's going to be interesting to see how this lasts, because the music doesn't seem like, he's never really had a problem in terms of like the music. So it's probably just a brand problem. So it's definitely a brand problem, and it feels like that's been fixed. So shout out to Kizz Daniel, more of it, and that's facts.